play around in DeFi. Let's zoom out and talk about Wall Street as a whole. Do you see Wall Street adopting DeFi and trying to innovate, or resisting DeFi? Or is there going to be a big brain drain out of Wall Street, or is Wall Street going to actually try and like turn the ship? What do you see as like the more likely outcomes, and how do you parse these things apart?
I'm going to be a little bit pessimistic and say that Wall Street's going to fight this all the way down the line until it's forced to accept it. And I'll come back to something I said earlier. I think the thing that can make everything go is stablecoins. In that, if you get stablecoins to the point where they really start to take off, and in Asia they are, looking at the stablecoin index and reading some stuff from Glassnode, my understanding is that stablecoins turnover is about 150 a day, or 150 billion a day. It's about 2/3 of all of the volume, because half of it's usually a pair with another coin as well too, but about a quarter of that is wall-to-wallet transfers. And what you're seeing more and more, especially out of Asia, is, and this is an exact example that it was presented to me, is a Vietnamese manufacturer owes an Indonesian supplier $50 million for raw materials at the end of the month. Well, they could use the Vietnamese bank and the Indonesian bank and report to both governments and get feed along the way, and tax along the way. Or I can open up a wallet and you can open up a wallet and I'll send you 50 million to Tether and we're done with this transaction in 5 minutes for a couple of dollars as well too. As that becomes more and more accepted around the world, Wall Street's going to have no choice but to basically be dragged into this as well, because as that becomes more and more accepted, the lending and borrowing and the automatic market maker, they're going to be the servicing for the basis of these stable coins, because these stable coins will be the basis for the real world application first. Second of all, when it comes to regulation, yeah, there's a lot of regulation that needs to be sorted out. But I think we all look at what I read gets me disappointed, because they're all looking at it in the wrong way. We got to stop the drug dealers, the old tropes from 5 years ago and stuff like that. But better regulation or better ideas is, how about legal recognition for a DAO other than the state of Wyoming, so that you can have DAOs do a lot more. My understanding, you guys correct me if I'm wrong on this, is one of the reasons Visa is doing a deal with Circle is because it's a legally recognized organization that it can have a deal with. It was afraid of the Tether reserves, but would it ever try and do something like that with Maker? Well, a DAO's not legally recognized. So I don't know how they could do a deal with that other than the state of Wyoming, but that's not enough. So if you were to do that, how about an explanation of what is a security and what is a token? And why doesn't the SEC define the two as two separate things instead of not saying anything, so we could selectively beat token holders over the head when we want to, when it suits our purpose? How about giving us a definition of that as well too? How about crimes for rug pulls? To like disincentivize that. See, the problem with all of this is if you start doing that, give definition for DAOs and what tokens are and have specific crimes for rug pulls, then you're starting to acknowledge acceptance of it, and that we're trying to help it move forward. I'm just not so sure a lot of the regulators are ready to go that way. And that's why it bothers me. I'm in the camp. They can't stop it in the long run, but boy, they can make it miserable in the medium term. Before we get to the long run. And I would like to see more Hester Pierces of the world thinking about how can we help this industry grow instead of how do we protect ourselves from it, which